Hi there, and welcome to Naturally Recovering Autism. I am your host, Karen Thomas, and I want to thank you so much for being here and being a proactive parent and getting the resources that you need to let your child live their most fulfilling and independent life possible. When my own son was diagnosed with autism, I was told to drug him and try behavioral therapies, and there was nothing else that we could do for him but manage his symptoms the rest of his life. But I didn't want to do that. Fortunately, my background in craniosacral therapy of now 30 years let me know that the brain can and does heal, but I didn't know that much about autism. What I did know is that I didn't want to just mask the symptoms with dangerous drugs. I wanted to find the causes and work with them naturally. And fast forward, it took me a decade and a lot of time and effort, but today my son is no longer diagnosable with autism after being told it could not happen. So I'm here to share with you valuable resources to save you the time and some of the expense that I had to spend to figure it out, and to help you let your child lead to their best results possible. Every child's level of recovery is different, but we know that children who couldn't sleep through the night are sleeping now through the night and happily. Their immune systems are now strong where they were once sick all the time. Children who were nonverbal and their parents were told they could never speak are now speaking. Children who were getting D's and F's in school are getting A's and B's. And those that were so anxious all the time and couldn't sit still and were uncomfortable in their own bodies are now calm and happy and relaxed. And they're leading fulfilling and independent lives with friends. This is what we want for our kids. So I'm here to share the resources with you so that you can get the best results for your child, the best possible. And you can start that right now with my free download of the top 7 foods to eliminate beginning today, of the top foods that are the most inflammatory and toxic that are contributing to those physical and behavioral symptoms of autism that your child is having. They're making his life uncomfortable. So you can get that right now at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/7 foods. And feel free to share that with anybody you know who would be interested. And I will also link to it in today's show notes. There's, of course, a lot more than diet, but this is something you could start doing today that will begin to reduce those symptoms. And I'm happy to share everything I can with you. So right now, let's dive into today's episode. Hi there and welcome back. As always, I want to thank you for being here and getting the resources that you need to help your child live to their fullest potential. And that is from working with the underlying causes. And as we do that with those biological issues, and while we heal their system of all of those toxins, the inflammation, the things that are causing the symptoms that we see as behaviors, health behaviors, and physical and emotional behaviors, there are also some strategies that we can utilize along the way. As we do that, I wanted to cover the topic today of the 7 most common mistakes that parents make in autism recovery and how to avoid them. This is podcast and episode number 241. So all show notes will be at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/241. And I will be linking to some resources today that will be helpful for you. So make a note of that, because this is always to give you strategies, things you can utilize and help support you to get the best results. And over the past few weeks, I've been sort of doing a series here and talking about why autism recovery progress can look uneven, the subtle signs your child's body may actually be healing, and then why progress can look uneven in autism recovery and why that is normal. Remember, it's not just a straight line. One thing I've learned after working with hundreds of families is that progress does not usually stall because parents are not trying hard enough. It was my own situation with my own son on my journey as well. It stalls because no one warned you about the common pitfalls that can happen. And sometimes we get stuck in those thinking that things aren't really working when they actually are. So the first one I want to talk about is trying to do too much all at once. So adding in more than one supplement at a time, increasing dosages too quickly, not having toxin binders in place or foundational detoxification support, and the wrong diet, even when you think you are gone gluten-free, casein-free. There's so much more to do that I always want to teach you about. Make sure you know everything. And then also they're in a lot of therapies. This is really emotionally and physically hard on a child. So we need to keep it in balance. It pushes the neurological system too hard, and it's really just emotionally stressful for everyone. So why does layering slowly work better? So if you add in one new single supplement at a time at the lowest possible dosage to begin, that allows the body to process and absorb it better. This also offers you, as the parent, the opportunity to recognize any symptoms that may arise. So detoxification symptoms, or die-off, as you've heard me talk about, are when the body is not able to process out the toxins as fast as the body is releasing them. This backup of toxins causes symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, heightened or worsening of behavioral symptoms, and much more. So if these things happen, it's crucial just to slow down. You don't have to fully stop unless it gets really, really heightened and extremely out of control. Then you've done too much too quickly, or their body is not being able to process out those toxins fast enough, and you want to give them a break for a few days till symptoms subside, and then resume at the very lowest and slowest dosages. So this means lowering back to where they were when they were doing well, if you caught it in time. Otherwise, you might want to even stop for a few days. So it may be needed first to take a few days off and allow those symptoms to subside. So remember, when you resume, it's a good idea to begin at the lowest dosage than you were at before, or much lower dosage, and then gradually working your way back up and watching them for symptoms. And when symptoms arise, you slow down again. This may seem like a really slow process, but it's truly essential. It's one of the best times when going slow is to help go faster. So we don't want to go any faster than the body can handle it. And again, let symptoms be your guide. The second thing I want to talk about is measuring progress only by behavior. Now, that is not how we measure progress. In our last episode, 5 signs your child's body is healing, even if behaviors haven't changed yet. That was episode number 240. We talked about when behaviors are the only thing we measure, it's easy to miss the quieter foundational changes that are happening underneath the surface. Remember, things are happening at a cellular level. So what we see at the surface, there may be no changes that we're actually seeing, or we're thinking that things are getting worse, that somehow they're getting worse, but they're actually getting better. It's because their cells, their body is flushing out toxins. But if we don't have enough hydration in place and some toxin binders and other things in place to help support that process, their body can't keep up with it. So remember, healing starts inside the body first before it shows up outwardly in communication, learning, or different behaviors. Parents commonly miss signs because they're focused on just one thing, like stimming or speech, but there is so much more. You want to look for changes, even subtle ones, in differences in sleep patterns, digestive shifts, increased emotional expression, periods of fatigue followed by clarity, subtle changes in awareness and connection. These signs really matter much more than you think. When parents know what to look for, they're less likely to stop too soon or assume something isn't working. So remember, healing is cumulative. The foundation has to be built before visible change can last. Okay, so we might see some subtle changes, but we want to make sure we really create stability and strength in those foundational steps. By recognizing these signs, you give your child's body the time and consistency it needs to continue moving forward. Progress is happening even when it's quiet. Next, I want to talk about expecting quick linear results. Now, we have to have realistic expectations. So 2 episodes back, episode number 239, I talked about why progress can look uneven and why that's normal. If you're walking the autism journey with your child, you've probably experienced moments that feel confusing or even discouraging. And just when things seem to be improving, a new behavior surfaces and a new challenge shows up, and sleep shifts again, and digestion changes, and emotions run higher. And the question creeps in, am I doing something wrong? And I want to assure you today, uneven progress is not only common, it's often a sign that healing is actually happening. So know that every little step you take, everything that you're doing is making a positive difference. Autism recovery is not linear. One of the biggest misconceptions that parents face is the idea that recovery should look like a straight line. Improvement, more improvement, and then no setbacks. Well, that would be nice if that were true, but it's not realistic. So what you may see are things like a leap forward in communication, followed by emotional sensitivity, or better sleep paired with temporary digestive changes, increased awareness before behaviors settle down. This doesn't mean you're going backward. It means the body's reorganizing and recalibrating. So why do these behaviors increase before they improve? When the nervous system begins to regulate and the body starts clearing stored toxins or inflammation, it can temporarily feel uncomfortable. Remember, this is like a renewal and a setting, renewing the setting points. At this point, parents may feel discouraged and think it's not working. Even worse, they might stop. Don't stop. I encourage you, if you have to slow down, or like I said a few minutes ago, you want to back off and let symptoms subside, then restart again, but don't stop. Remember that you don't have to do everything all at once, and it's a process that takes time, and it definitely takes patience. So this is exactly why community, guidance, and understanding the why behind the process matters so much. We didn't get to where we are in one day. So remember, it's very important that you are, going on the process and committing to long-term results. Next, I want to talk about ignoring nervous system regulation. Stress impacts healing, and a few simple strategies are obvious, such as predictable routines, sensory safety, and slower pacing. And I've offered a lot of different and productive strategies for you to use at home in multiple podcasts. So I'm going to link to those in today's show notes. There are so many, but I'll just mention them, and they're linked to again in this episode 241. The one episode I did a while back is on the vagus nerve in autism, and 5 ways that I give you to stimulate the vagus nerve for improved digestion, calming, and overall better health. My background of 39 years in holistic health gives me a lot to bring to the table for you. I've worked with, craniosacral work to balance the brain. I've done bodywork and massage therapy. I was the back office assistant for an applied kinesiology chiropractor for 10 years. So these things are strategies that I actually want to teach you from my knowledge to be able to use at home with your child. You don't have to go pay for an appointment or do anything. Just go look at these episodes, learn simple things to do that you can do with your child by yourself at home. Like another one too that I interviewed a man who is a specialist in parenting without stress and how to raise responsible kids while keeping a life of your own. And then I give a free PDF download in that on parenting tips on communication. And these tips include ways to send positive messages, offer choices, and encourage reflection. And the guide actually goes into practical ways to utilize this in each of these methods for your best outcome. So you can check out that episode. Another one is clearing trapped emotions with emotion code work. I interviewed Dr. Bradley Nelson in episode number 9. And that is absolutely phenomenal, that work. I learned to do it on myself and my children. And you can learn to do it yourself as well, or you can schedule with a qualified practitioner as well. So there are various options to get rid of these underlying emotional components that our body has clung to that we can't release and move past. And it will also work with desensitizing things like allergies or allergic responses. But I also have the at-home allergy reduction kit episode that I did that is something else you can do at home that's phenomenal. Another one is tapping acupressure points, podcast episode 120. And then another one for you and your child are 5 steps to apply a positive mindset and draw more of what you want into your life. That is huge for you. And then craniosacral therapy. Of course, I mentioned my background is craniosacral therapy, and I linked to a free short video that I did on that episode page as well. So I'm going to link to all of these in the show notes for today's episode at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/241. So you can please utilize them. I think they're really beneficial for you to have the knowledge to use them at home on your own journey. You can find one or any number of them that you can use at home and watch the transformations for both yourself and your child. So again, you don't have to worry about learning everything, but they're valuable resources. So go and look at all of them and do learn what there is for you and start utilizing them. Lastly, or number 5, we're going to talk about stopping too soon. And this happens when parents see temporary detox reactions, that die-off or detox symptoms I talked about, emotional shifts, or really behavioral fluctuations, where we're having incredibly increased behaviors And one thing that is key when you're going through all of these things on this journey is how education prevents all of this. And that's what I'm here to do, is help educate you in this episode about, and in everything I do, about why these things are happening and what to do so that you can keep moving forward and get the success that you want. Next, we're going to talk about walking the journey alone. This is something I unfortunately had to do, and I don't want you to have to do. I'm here for you to offer you resources and a step-by-step process, everything you need, because we shouldn't have to do this journey alone. Parents need reassurance, shared experience, and guidance. And I do want you to know that you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to do it perfectly, and you don't have to do it, feel like you're the only one out there. No, there's support out there. There are communities. I offer you resources in my website, my podcast, my blog posts, my book, my membership program, and all of these things are there for you. I walk you step by step through everything in my membership program. So if that's something you want help with, I'll link to a way to learn about that in the show notes as well. Lastly, remember to not forget about your intuition. Parents forget to trust their intuition. They know their child best, but lose confidence due to the outside pressures, or we're made to feel like we don't know anything. That happened to me too. So your education as a parent is the key to your child's success. Remember that progress happens when your knowledge is also consistent. And I've lived this journey personally, and again, that's why I'm here to offer you these resources that I share to help make your journey easier, help you have more confidence and clarity moving forward, and know what to do. And I can walk you through these steps together. Why don't you look at the show notes and see the resources I share there for you, and grab what works for you, because I know that there are so many things that you need to know, and I want you to know, and I want to teach you. So go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/241. Again, you'll find the show notes there. So that, as you're moving forward in the journey, you don't feel stuck or like you can't move forward. You know what the answers are when things get tough, or you have support when that happens as well, and that you can be able to move forward with confidence, but also being on the right journey. Because I see so many people come to me and they've been working with somebody for years that has not been giving them results. And in my program, people get results. So that is why I offer it, because I want to save you as a parent in our community, as a parent of a child with autism. I know the challenges, and I really want to give you the right steps and the support that you deserve. So hopefully everything I offer is helpful. Again, things are there for you at the show notes today that you can learn from. And as always, thank you for what you're doing for your child, and for being here, and for learning, because even statistics show us that parents' education increases the results that you get with your child by over 50%. We as parents do make a huge, huge difference. I believe we make all the difference. We are the ones at home implementing the dietary changes and the supplements and everything else that are challenging. And you need to know what you're doing and how to do it. And hopefully I can be helpful for you on this journey doing those things. So thanks again for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.